Hi everyone, welcome. I'm René de los Santos, and welcome to another episode, another installment of René Unpacking. For this episode, I want to unpack side bend in chair yoga, right? Just to take more fully advantage of these poses, so you can get a much richer practice. If you've been noticing, if you've been watching my other two videos, right, these techniques, these cues are very straightforward, very simple, but I think they're very extremely useful to kind of taking up your practice up a notch or two, right? So in this case, we're gonna focus a little bit more on how to again leverage up our side bends here. This is useful. This concept is useful as much for standing as it is for seated. So if you're watching this and you also do like vinyasa or hatha, or if you're in my case, if you take classes with me, I also have my share yoga classes also have moments where we do standing stuff, right? So right, so side bend, right? Again, this is very useful because again, I think a lot of people, we don't take much advantage of these poses as we could. Okay, so let me show you what I often see people do, and I think we can do better to leverage the side bends a lot more for ourselves. Okay, so let's say we're sitting down or even standing, but in this case we're sitting. We're sitting in our mountain pose, seated pose, like I in the previous video I showed you how to do. So that I want to have you do a side bend. Okay, so let's say we're going to start off with the right arm up. We have the left arm down, and we're going to use, we're going to do the side bend over to the left. Okay, so let me show you exactly what I see a lot of people doing. Again, it's not wrong, but again, we can really leverage this pose to get a lot more of a side bend on the side body. I want you to really feel the right side body instead of simply just reaching the arm over. Okay, so let's see. Again, so we're sitting up nice and tall. Everything's good right there for right now, right? The left arms, both arms onto the side. And then I have you inhale, raise the right arm up. Then I have you exhale, side bend. So people raise up the arm and then they do the side bend. They reach the arm over, okay? And again, if you notice, I don't do much of a lift in my body. I just kind of inhale, raise the arm up, and as I exhale, then I kind of like do this, lean over to the left, and I reach to my right arm overhead, okay? Then again, there's nothing wrong with that. And you get a nice little bend, side bend, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but then again, we can really leverage this pose to can really feel the good, nice side bend stretch. You want to feel the stretch, right? So the way to do that, very straightforward. You want to create lift before you do the side bend. Why? Because when you lengthen as tall as you can, you create a bigger arch into the body. So again, when we're just reaching the arms up and reach the arm up, you have a low arch. So the lower arch, notice my arm's almost coming to, well, it's close enough to my head that it's not really a deep arch. It's kind of a, arch, right? So you're kind of there. And the side bend's okay, but it's not really satisfying, especially when we do this other modification version that I'm gonna have you practice. So if you haven't set up, we can practice together this particular version of the pose, which I think is much more satisfying. Okay, again, set up in the pose, nice mountain pose. I sit up nice and tall, right? Left arm to the side or on your lap. I'm going to bring it to my left, to the side this time. Then again, this time, inhale, raise the right arm up, reach a little higher, because now we're lengthening the body. Reach a little higher. You almost feel like you're pressing your sit bones down, pressing your feet down to help lengthen. Then as you exhale, then you do the side bend over to the left. So you want to lengthen as tall as you can before you do the side bend, because when you do the side bend, you notice I have a deeper arch, a much bigger arch, right? And then what happens here, by pressing my feet down, I can still lifting my body as I reach the arm overhead. Okay, so it's not just doing the arch, nice big arch, and then kind of slumping down. You want to continue having that length by pressing as you reach the arm overhead. Then you have a nice, good side stretch of the body. Okay, so let me repeat that just to make sure you can do it again both at home and at the studio. Okay, again, nothing wrong with doing a side bend, which reaching the arm up and then doing the side bend. Okay, you get an adequate stretch. That's okay. But again, we can leverage it. So the idea here is press your feet down, press your sit bone, reach the whatever arm you're going to do. In this case, the right arm, reach it as tall as you can. So I'm pressing my feet, sit bones, I'm reaching as tall as I can. Then as I exhale, then I do the arch, right? So I get a much deeper, right, bigger arch as I do the side bend. And the goal here is not to slouch once I get the pose, right? You want to keep pressing, kind of lifting up so that you continue the lengthening of your body and you're reaching the arm overhead so that you maintain the integrity of that arch. Otherwise, right, if you kind of slouch a little bit, and then kind of reach over, you still get a nice one, but not as engaged as you could, okay? So again, arm up as tall as you can get. Reach the arm over, keep pressing your sit bones and feet to kind of keep your length of the body up as you reach the arms overhead. So you can feel the body. If you're doing it with me, you should feel like even the back of your lats a little bit, right? And the side body, okay? So again, very straightforward, easy to do versions of the pose. But I think for me, these simple modifications, these simple additions, right, will really help elevate your practice to the next level. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next videos.